Good morning, Clerk Moss, and welcome everyone to the September 16th, 2025 Board Business Meeting. Clerk Moss, could you do us the honors, please?
Certainly, Chair Harrington. The Washington County Board of Commissioners, also meeting as the Board of Directors for Clean Water Services and all other county service districts, is meeting this regular session September 16th, 2025. Commissioner Schneider?
Here.
Commissioner Fye?
Present.
Vice Chair Treese?
Here.
Chair Harrington, and I'll announce Commissioner Willie is excused for today.
Thank you, Clerk Moss. We've had no agenda updates for today's meeting, so next, if you would stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Thank you. Next, we'll move on to public communication. Clerk Moss, who do we have who wishes to share their thoughts with us today?
Thank you, Chair Harrington. The first two we have is David Ogle and Aditi Reshabal, and I apologize if I missed it. Please come forward.
Go ahead. Good morning, Washington County Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today. My name is Dave Ogle, and I've been a Washington County resident for 12 years. I'm here today to speak about the new transitional housing facility on Cornell Road. I want to begin by acknowledging that addiction is an insidious disease. I have nothing but the utmost respect and hope for those in recovery. I wish them every success in their journey toward long-term sobriety and overall well-being, and I understand that stable housing is a crucial part of that. I believe the success of the Cornell Road Transitional Housing Facility will depend on a collaborative effort between facility residents, Washington County, the operator, and the surrounding community. This partnership is key in creating a safe and supportive environment for everyone. With that in mind, I want to ask the county to strongly consider and implement the following safety measures. First, require background checks for all facility staff and residents. This is a critical step to ensure the safety of not only facility residents, but also our most vulnerable community members, especially the children who attend 5 schools located within 1 mile of the facility. Second, establish strong transition plans for residents. This includes support for those who successfully complete the program, as well as clear protocols for those who may be asked to leave the facility against their choosing. A smooth transition is vital for both residents and the community. Finally, I ask for robust safety protocols and measures to be put in place. These should protect residents inside the facility and, just as importantly, the surrounding community and local businesses. With thoughtful planning, community engagement, and compassionate support, I sincerely believe this facility can be a successful model and provide a positive outcome for all involved. Thank you again for your time and attention to this matter.
Good morning, respected commissioners. My name is Aditya Ramachandran, Adi Hushad, and I'm here regarding the Cornell Road Recovery Transitional Housing Project. I've lived in the county for 25 years. I'm a proud naturalized U.S. citizen. One of the things I value most about our country is that ordinary citizens can reach out to their elected leaders and have their concerns heard directly. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. My wife and I are raising 2 daughters who attend the neighborhood elementary and middle schools. Our family is grateful to live in the safe community like Oak Hills, where our children can walk to school and play in their park on their own. We respect and support the county's efforts to help people recover and rebuild their lives. We do not oppose the transitional housing project near Oak Hills and wish it every success. At the same time, programs of this nature can bring challenges for surrounding neighborhoods unless proper guardrails are in place. My request is very simple. Make safety non-negotiable. Strong safeguards are needed. Background checks for residents and staff, buffer zones around schools where appropriate, and clear behavioral expectations with consequences for improper conduct, both on-site and off-site, including in nearby parks, green spaces, neighborhoods, and businesses. Law enforcement involvement is equally important. From CPO meetings, I gather it appears that the Washington County Sheriff is aware of the project but are not directly participating at it in this time. The sheriff's office must play a clear role in incident response and oversight. Neighbors deserve a 24/7 chain of contacts so that they know who exactly to call when potential issues arise and how these will be addressed. This project will succeed only if it balances compassion with accountability. Residents inside the facility and families living around it both deserve to feel safe and welcome. Any contract or agreement for this facility must reflect that. Thank you for your time and for your service.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us in the meeting today. It is unusual for me to make comments after members of our community have provided public comment, but I would like to share some brief updates for you. Thank you for sharing your thoughts with us. I know all of us on the board appreciate hearing from our community members, but thank you for approaching us so early. It's still very early in the process. We have I'm hoping that we have your contact information, because I'd also like to share a couple of other sets of information that we have, because we have learned a lot over these last several years in building out our first ever homeless response system. So we have a very informative, a brand new document about the capital investments that have gone in. Additionally, and working with community members, surrounding community members on each and every one of the multiple solutions, of which this is one. Additionally, we are completing the 2 different campuses that make up our Center for Triage and Treatment. So the Hillsborough Recovery Center, just off of Elam Young Parkway, has also had a community effort, as has the Beaverton Residential Community, Beaverton Residential Recovery Center that is in the Tannisbourne area. And so our staff is taking all of that experience and has plans in future months for engaging with the community on this Cornell Road transition project. You're in the early days, and so I applaud your looking out for not only your family, but your other community members. And I'd like to turn the topic over to our County Administrator, Tanya Angie, who can give us all the latest update on upcoming plans. Ms. Angie, thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to our community members for speaking today and for other members of the community. On the Washington County OR.gov website, if community members are interested in this project, you can search Cornell Road Recovery, and up will pop a page, and I tested this myself before I made that comment. Next month, on October 14th, from 7 to 9 p.m., there will be a virtual meeting. That Zoom link is right on our website for your ease of access. I am aware that staff are working on the save the date announcements right now, so once again, perfectly timed. Just a bit about this project. Cornell Road is going to be recovery-focused transitional housing program for 75 to 85 participants who are supported in a clean and sober living environment while working to reach long-term stable housing. People residing in recovery housing will have a requirement of sobriety as they work towards housing stability. So more information will be provided on October 14th, but once again, this is in the very early stages of the planning process. As we have built out our shelter and housing programs, we also have what's called a Good Neighbor Agreement. And the development of the Good Neighbor Agreement will be part of the development of this project, where we work with community, hear concerns such as yours, and how do we create that shared partnership model of working together to provide housing supports for all of our community members.
Once again, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Clerk Moss, do we have anyone else who wishes to engage with us?
Yes, we have 2 more in the room and then 1 online, Sandra Nelson and Jennifer Wyndham.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair Harrington and Commissioners. I'm Sandra Nelson, a resident of Washington County. I've had some personal challenges this past month, but I'm back for now. Last week, a very good man, a man well loved and respected by millions in this country and around the world, was assassinated. Many of us are grieving, but others are rejoicing that he was murdered. How can this be? Abraham Lincoln, quoting scripture, reminded people in 1857 that a house divided against itself cannot stand. He was underscoring the deep moral and religious significance of the division over slavery. Today, we continue to be troubled by deep moral and worldview divisions. For the love of God, country, family, and freedom, Charlie Kirk challenged those divisions with courage, kindness, and patience. He reminded people that when we as individuals and members of our community follow God's design for our lives, we will flourish. Just as God created physical laws that govern our universe, He designed spiritual and moral laws to govern our lives and relationships. When we ignore those laws, we experience misery and death. When we respect those laws, we have joy and life, even abundant life, Jesus said. Let's pray. Father in heaven, we confess that for many years we have ignored you. We have gone our own way, trying to create our own realities, defying the laws that you have given to us for our good. Help us to repent, to turn back to you. Please forgive us and help us to forgive one another. Please restore to us our nation, one nation, under you, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you.
Ms. Wyndham.
Thank you. So I do think the leftist rhetoric helped kill Charlie Kirk, but that's not what I'm here to talk about today. What I'm here to talk about today is the fact that I live next to one of your homeless camps. Low barrier, which for you that don't know, means no drug testing and no background checks. But the biggest problem isn't even living next to rapists and felons, which we have. And I still don't understand how that church is allowed to keep a playground open when pedophiles have lived at that homeless camp 20 feet away. I don't understand that. But I also live next to Aloha Commons, and that place is a hotel converted to help homeless individuals with mental issues. It's 24/7, all night, all day. They have a bike chop shop in the hotel parking lot. I had to put my truck between a woman and a homeless guy the other day because she was trying to walk to church, and both her and I thought she was going to get attacked by this man. I cannot walk down the street without seeing people yelling profanities and insanities. I can't believe this. The Mexican restaurant that I like to go to walked me out to my car because I was accosted outside. The people stand inside the Safeway inside the Safeway, begging for food and money. They stand outside the McDonald's to where when you pull out, you have to give them food or worry about them attacking you. This low barrier homeless shelter is insane. But more than that, it's not just the shelter that causes a problem, it's the people who come in when that shelter is there. They're parking on our streets, they're parking at the 7-Elevens, they're parking at the gas stations. My community is not safe anymore because you guys let all of these insane people come in there. I'm very saddened. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk.
All right, Madam Chair, we just have one online, Addie Smith. Ms. Smith, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Please go ahead for up to 2 minutes.
Hello, my name is Addie Smith. Today is September 16th, 2025. I am speaking before the Washington County, Oregon Commissioners. Democrat-endorsed Sheriff Caprice Massey has absolutely no idea what's going on inside the jail she was initially appointed by these commissioners, then elected as sheriff to run. Despite being a Washington County, Oregon sheriff for over 25 years, she hasn't been to the pods inside the jail in years. She, along with Under Sheriff John Cook, are never at the jail working. Their days are spent at home with family or traveling or taking photos with the Oregon Duck or making commercials or at parties and galas. Deputy Sheriff Earl McCray, one of only 2 Black deputies at the jail, married to a white woman, isn't concerned with what's going on at the jail because he's a coward. The racism, discrimination, hate, and violations of the laws of the state of Oregon and the laws created by the jail staff or these commissioners and whomever else are being violated by the deputies and the sergeants at the jail. Commander Marzilli, Sergeant Arrowwood, Sergeant Locke, Sergeant Kramer, Sergeant Hennessy must be terminated and their pensions should not be given to them. Deputy Malia is another one who should be terminated and not receive his pension. They haven't earned them. There are 2 Black employees working at the jail. This is the extent of the Black people working as deputies for Washington County. This is because of the racism and hate that not only happens to the individuals housed there, but to the Black employees who work there. If you don't want to be harassed or discriminated against or experience the racism, you quit. Black individuals housed at the jail are not safe. And because of that, what I am going to do to express my favor and to show how I disapprove of it is to make sure Trump or his hand-picked surrogate are in office in 2028. That's what I am going to do to help you guys out. Thank you.
That completes the public comment for this session, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Clerk Moss. Next, we have today's consent agenda, which consists of 13 items, 2 sets of minutes, 5 items from Clean Water Services, 1 item from the Office of Community Development, 1 item from Facilities, Fleet, and Parks, 1 item from Human Resources, and 3 items from Land Use and Transportation. What are the wishes of the Commission? Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve today's consent agenda. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, Commissioners. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 4-0. Next, we'll move on to boards and commissions. And today I wish to announce vacancies on the following boards and commissions. And we will have a motion to authorize these vacancies and authorize the recruitment of applicants through October 28th or until all vacancies are full. You can find a complete description on each of these committees on our county website, as well as in today's meeting packet. That is topic E1. Aging and Veteran Services Advisory Council, the Civil Service Commission, the Columbia Pacific Economic Development District, also referred to as COLPAC, and noted on that one, you also, there's a residency requirement there. Development Disabilities Council, the Enhanced Sheriff Patrol District combined with the Urban Road Maintenance District Budget Committee, and that will involve a lot of work this spring. The Enhanced Sheriff's Patrol Advisory Committee, that's also referred to as the ESPD Advisory Committee, once again, residential area requirement there. The Metzger Park Local Improvement District Advisory Board, that one requires residency in the Metzger Park area. The North Bethany County Service District for Roads Budget Committee, you need to reside in the North Bethany area. The Northwest Area Commission on Transportation Northwest Act, residency basically in the western part of our county, District 4, as well as a little bit of District 3. The Property Values Appeals Board, formerly BOPAT, whatever. The Public Health Advisory Council, the Public Safety Coordinating Council, also known as PSCC, the Rural Roads Operation and Maintenance Advisory Committee, also referred to as ROMAC, and there's a residency requirement on that. Transit Committee, the Urban Road Maintenance District Advisory Committee, URMDAC, you need to live in the urban unincorporated area for that, just like essentially with the Enhanced Sheriff Patrol. And then the Washington County and Service District for Lighting #1 Budget Committee. Couple positions there. So those are all the current board and commissions where we have openings. I would ask for a motion for staff to move forward with the further announcements of these vacancies and authorize the recruitments as expressed earlier.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you, commissioners. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you. Any opposed? The motion carries unanimously 4-0. Next, we're moving on to public hearings. We have a public hearing to consider the annexation of 2 tax lots totaling 1.5 acres to the Clean Water Services District. We have a brief staff report before we'll be moving forward with conducting the public hearing. Welcome and thank you.
Thank you, Chair Harrington and Commissioners. I'm Carol Johnson, Planning and Development Services Manager, and I'm joined today by Tricia Garisco, Associate Planner, who will go through the staff report.
Thank you, Carol. Good morning, everyone. For the record, I am Tricia Garisco, Associate Planner in Community Planning. The tax lots depicted here are located at 11903 and 11875 Northwest Thompson Road, north of Northwest Thompson Road, west of Northwest Marcotte Road, and east of Northwest Saltzman Road in unincorporated Washington County. This proposal is a request by property owners Joseph and Heather Fogg to annex 2 tax lots totaling approximately 1.5 acres into the Clean Water Services District. This request was initiated by a consent petition from the property owners. County staff has reviewed this request and found that it meets the criteria for boundary changes as outlined in the staff report. Staff recommends that the board conduct the public hearing and at the conclusion of the hearing adopt the resolution and order approving the annexation, with the approval becoming effective today, September 16th. If there is any public testimony today, there is a brief statement I will need to read into the record.
Great, thank you very much. Are there any questions? I would just like to note that these properties are within the Metro UGB. Seeing no questions, I would like to open the public hearing. Clerk Moss, do we have anyone who wishes to testify on this matter?
Thank you, Chair Harrington. I did not see anyone sign up in the back room. Is there any member in the auditorium that wishes to provide public comment for up to 2 minutes on this item? Sir, please come forward.
Oh, can I read the testimony?
Yes. Sir, come right up, but before you speak, we need to bring a comment into the record. Please go ahead, staff.
Before the board receives public testimony, I would like to read the following statement for the record. The applicable substantive criteria are set forth in ORS 1.8.850, Local Comp Plan and Urban Service Agreements, and Metro Code Section 3.09.050D. Testimony and evidence must be directed toward the applicable substantive criteria or other criteria in the plan or land use regulation that the person believes to apply to the decision. Failure to raise an issue accompanied by statements or evidence sufficient to afford the board and any party an opportunity to respond to the issue precludes appeal to the Land Use Board of Appeals on that issue. Thank you.
Thank you. And that was just a step that we have to take per Oregon requirements for this. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I just maybe more have a comment. I'm the property owner. Both tax lots are connected to Thompson. It was in 2020, might have been 21, where water and sewer was brought up Thompson Road to a development that was biased. And at that time, we just didn't have the resources to be able to pay the fees to connect it, which has led us to here today. Yeah. So I'm thankful to be here for this opportunity and happy to answer any questions if anybody has. We're just it's gonna be a future development of a house for my mother-in-law, or she's getting older.
You have every right to develop that property within the applicable zoning. So, yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for joining us today, sir. Clerk Moss, anyone else who wishes to testify in today's public
I do not see anyone else in the room raise their hand or coming forward. Is there any member online via Zoom that wishes to provide public comment as you've heard the staff report on this public hearing? Give you just a moment to utilize raise hand function. Not seeing any hands, Chair Harrington.
Thank you. And with that, I'll close today's public hearing and ask for a motion to adopt and authorize the chair to sign the resolution and order approving the Service District Annexation 25-006 LRP/BC with the approval becoming effective September 16th, 2025.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously 5-0. Next, we'll move on to our second public communication period for today's meeting. This is an opportunity for members of our community to share their thoughts with the board for up to 5 minutes, an individual maximum of 30 minutes total. Clerk Moss, do we have anyone who wishes to do so?
We do, Chair Harrington. The first two we have is Dale Feek, followed by Carolyn Schmidlin.
Go ahead, Mr. Feek.
Thank you, Madam Chair Harrington and Commissioners. Dale Feek. I have 3 topics, but before I mention those, I wanted to say vote by mail is a big issue. Voter integrity is a big issue. I've heard most of you talk about it is a state problem and action, and it needs to be resolved that way, and I concur with that. All right. So 3 topics. Environmental Equality meeting September the 11th. Jamie Goldberg, the Oregon reporter who's been writing about state ethics on clean water services, and you, and the closure of Southwest River Road. I made public comment to the Environmental Equality Commission meeting on September the 11th by Zoom, and then followed up with this email. Previously, I gave you, that's Chair Donegan, Commissioner Webb, and Donahan, I gave them Snyder's book on tyranny, which I gave all of you except for my Commissioner Willie because he didn't want it. I gave you Snyder's book titled On Tyranny, 20 Lessons, Actions from the 20th Century. Today, during my public comment, I read lesson two, which is in here. Defend institutions. It is institutions that help us preserve decency. They need our help as well. Do not speak of our institutions unless you make them yours by acting on their behalf. Institutions do not protect themselves. They fall one after the other unless each is defended from the beginning. So choose an institution that you care about and take its side. Then I said to the commissioners, I am taking Oregon's DEQ, Environmental Equality Commission's side, especially after listening to the DEQ staff reports on PFAS, wastewater, and water quality. I also said I appreciated their comments and thoughtful questions that you ask your presenters as you do during work sessions. I am also taking the side of Washington County Board of Commissioners, as I said, administration and staff and attorneys. Clean Water Services, I'm taking their side, even though I have been a critic through the years by attending Clean Water Service Advisory Committee meetings since at least 2015. And I'm also taking the side of investigative journalists that are working for the Oregonian. That's topic 1. Topic 2, Jamie Goldberg, who wrote this story in the Oregonian titled State Ethics Commission to Investigate Travel by County Commissioners. I wrote her some things, and she and I emailed back and forth, and she's the reporter. And this is what I wrote, part of what I sent to her, September the 14th. Clean Water Service appears to be in a bind with its watershed treatment policies and practices of sewage and stormwater, especially since they keep authorizing sewage and stormwater permits as they are under pressure to keep the Tualatin River water temperature low to meet DEQ EPA regulations about thermal load in the water. At the Board of Commissioner work session September the 9th, Tracy Rainey, as you know, is the Governor of Fell's Relations Manager for Clean Water Services, gave a presentation about how the Bureau of Reclamation may propose limiting the amount of water that can be stored in Hague Lake at Scoggins Dam. Clean Water Services needs the cold water at the bottom of the lake to cool the water that flows into the Tualatin River from the spillway. And Tracy was also listened to Zoom, and she listened to the presentations at the Environmental Quality Commission about PFAS, wastewater, and water quality. number 3. Where's my number 3? It's here someplace. Okay, number 3. I just want to make a comment, about a minute. Comment about the decision you made at not approving the temporary closure at Southwest River Road for required witch hazel. I want to make a comment about that. And I pulled up what you write for the agenda items, and I just want to say this about that. The sanitary sewer line trench will reach a depth of 34 feet and needs to be constructed when the water table is at the lowest point, which is projected to be in early September. Due to the trench depth and the size of the excavator needed for this work will require utilizing the entire width of Southwest River Road during the excavation. I like that you tabled that, okay? I have a couple questions. One, does Clean Water Service support the project, especially with that deep of a sewage line? And how do people connect to that? So that's a comment. It's just a question. 2, development, housing, important. In that development, is there low-income housing? Is there affordable housing? What kind of project is this? Don't support just housing for economic benefit of developers. That's my comment. I guess maybe a question.
I just want to make sure that you're apprised on your last topic. There is a community meeting this evening, September 16th, on that topic. You hopefully can find more information on the county calendar or by checking with Stephen Roberts or Elizabeth Edwards after this meeting. It's tonight, September 16th. Then the topic will be coming back to the board at our meeting on September 23rd. And then on your comment on zoning, that housing development is within the city of Hillsborough, so you'll have to see them. Thank you. Ms. Midland, go ahead, please.
All right, thank you. Hello, Madam Chair and Commissioners. I'm Karen Schmidlin, Washington County resident, and thank you for the opportunity to speak today. On September 5th, KATU Channel 2 aired a 30-minute local press conference with prominent Oregon political figures. The press conference focused on how easy, safe, and secure our vote-by-mail elections are. Both state senators, Wyden and Merkley, participated, as did Secretary of State Tobias Reed, former SOS Phil Kiesling, Rep. Maxine Dexter, and the executive director of the National Vote at Home Institute, Barbara Smith Warner. Wow. All these prominent figures talking only about vote by mail for 30 minutes, no other topics. They're concerned about President Trump's efforts to eliminate vote by mail and require in-person voting with ID. Senator Merkley was concerned about Election Day corruption, but said nothing about the lack of transparency or chain of custody in the current system. Rep. Dexter said that the new SAVE Act, which requires proof of citizenship to vote in federal elections, somehow marginalizes women. She believes that there's a nationwide campaign to undermine democracy and stoke division, fear, and lies. It looks like she's the one using those same tactics. Secretary of State Tobias Reed said that he is confident that our elections are already secure. He stated that President Trump is tying election funding into divisive culture wars, saying we'd only get the funds if we needed if we make life harder for LGBTQ people and communities of colors. And these are the same scare tactics used by Ms. Dexter. Mr. Reed was also adamant that to protect our privacy, he refused to give Oregon voter roll data to the federal government, but he neglected to mention that Oregon is already giving this same data to a private nonprofit over which there's virtually no oversight. Is it really our privacy that concerns him? Ms. Warner insisted voter turnout is high due to vote by mail. Well, you may recall in June we provided you with documented data that debunked this myth. Aside from that, while Ms. Warner promoted increased voter turnout, she didn't seem to be concerned with voter eligibility. Senator Wyden ended his pro-vote by mail remarks with, quote, "We're drawing a line in the sand. We're going to win," unquote. Who is we? The politicians or the citizens? In the past, Senator Wyden thought differently. In Congress in 2019, he stated, quote, "At one point in the Intelligence Committee, both sides seemed to think that no votes were changed in the 2016 election. And I said that the experts that I talked to said that until you have a forensic analysis of the votes, until you get in there and scrub the whole system, the experts say you can't really say who won the election," unquote. He further stated, quote, "Our elections weren't secure last week, and they sure as heck aren't secure this week. And anyone that says otherwise is either selling you voting machines or simply has a malicious intent towards our elections," unquote. So which one is it, Senator Wyden? With the same system in place, how did our elections go from not being secure to being completely secure in a few short years? Could it be that while he knows the elections still are not secure, it's now more convenient to keep that information from the public? The threat to vote by mail is of such concern that it warranted this all-hands-on-deck news conference with big state actors telling the story they wanted the public to hear. As usual, the media played along. Not anyone to back up their statements with facts. No other voices or perspective were heard or examined. This is the definition of propaganda. But here's the thing. The public is catching on. Big media viewer ratings continue to decline. People are tired of being fed the same pablum without any real debate. There is no balanced reporting. The public knows there's a problem. They know that constantly restating a narrative doesn't make it true. Based on the written public comments following the conference, the public does not buy it. So the question for you is, what are you, Washington County Commissioners, going to do about this? The issue is real. The high-level office holders are worried. They're trying to get in front of the situation to stop it. If they don't succeed, what are you doing to ensure that Washington County is prepared for in-person voting and hand-counting ballots? Thank you.
Thank you. Clerk Moss, who do we have next?
Next, we have Jill Latre.
Welcome.
Good morning, Chair Harrington and Commissioners. My name is Jill Latre, and I've been a resident of Washington County for over 30 years. In the previous testimony regarding the December 5th press conference aired by KATU, the speaker mentioned the written public comments. Below are links to both the website from KATU and YouTube sites. Citizens felt compelled to share their experiences with Oregon's vote-by-mail election system. I will share several of those comments as they were submitted. Number 1, vote by mail is neither safe nor secure. 1 year my ballot wasn't received and it was voted by someone else. The county said I couldn't do anything about it. Roommates and spouses vote household ballots. Students can vote at home and school. Scores of voters at same addresses. Endless reasons to stop it. 2, in this state, a registered voter isn't necessarily a legal voter. 3, you still are baffled that illegal votes still happen, because they do, no matter what anyone says. When you see it in person, you know, and if you don't, you just parrot. 4, my in-laws, green card holders, not citizens, went to the Oregon DMV to get Oregon ID cards. They did not make any effort to register to vote. I know, because I filled out their paperwork for them. The next election cycle, a presidential one, they received mail-in ballots to vote as registered Democrats. The state of Oregon registered them and decided they were Democrats. I did not let them vote. Safe and secure is a mantra that attempts to do with repetition what can't be done with logic and evidence. It's propaganda. 5, this is a common practice, unfortunately. Thanks for keeping them from voting. 6, I would feel more comfortable with the mail-in system if voters were required to present citizenship proof in person at county offices in order to qualify. Checking a box at the DMV is ridiculous and needs to be eliminated, in my opinion. 7, I'm sure that naturalized citizens show their certificates of naturalization to county election officials when they register to vote. These are my words, not true. Oregon is a self-attestation state. 8, in person with ID or thumbprint. 9, agree there are other countries that do this, as well as have international monitors to monitor the vote. Think that would happen in the United States? Not. 10. So maybe it's time for another vote how we cast our ballots. Not mail either. Times change, and it seems the mail-in system of voting has too many skeptical citizens. 11. Vote by mail is a proven failure. I believe that's what they wanted to say. It's time to vote in person again. 12. Even Jimmy Carter thought vote by mail was ripe for fraud. 13. I personally know someone that received 2 ballots in the last election in the Portland area. Thankfully, they're an honest person and tore up the extra ballot. But how many would do that? 14. Add to the fact that postal workers' unions give tons of money to the Liberals out of their members' dues. So these are the people you trust delivering the ballots? I think not. 15. How about get your blank ballot by mail, fill it out at your leisure, and then present it to an election clerk who checks your ID? Multiple ballot turn-in locations throughout each county. Send elections people to nursing homes, to those who are immobile. 16, we used to do paper ballots a long time ago, and you voted on election day, not after. 17, I personally received a ballot at my house and another at my parents' house. 18, I want in person with ID. The majority of the public comments are not in favor of vote by mail. They reflect several of the vulnerabilities and concerns that citizens have raised with this board over the past year. Many of the comments show examples of state and federal law violations. The first comment is a case of fraud. Vote by mail is not safe and secure, and it should not be defended but replaced. Take the steps needed to bring local control back to our elections and return to in-person voting on Election Day with limited absentee voting and hand counting of the ballots. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Clerk Moss, anyone else?
I do not see anyone else sign up in the room. Would any member in the auditorium wish by public comment on any other county-related topic for up to 5 minutes? Not see anyone. We have one on Zoom, Charlie Henderson. Mr. Henderson, can you hear us?
I can, Clerk Moss. Am I coming through clearly?
You are. Please go ahead for up to 5 minutes.
All right, cool. Good morning, Chair, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Charlie Henderson, and I am once again here to ask the board to put out a values-based resolution supporting a ceasefire between Israel and the Palestinians, a release of all hostages from both sides, and most importantly, a complete arms embargo against the state of Israel. This request comes off the breaking news today that the UN Commission on this just officially declared it as a genocide, so no more hiding for anyone. Previously, when I testified on this, the chair advised that because there was no foreign policy in the county's portfolio, they would not comment on this. I am here, however, to make the case that it is the duty, excuse me, the duty of this board to comment on it, as remaining silent or echoing debunked Israeli and U.S. talking points runs counter to literally everything that this county claims to stand for. You cannot claim to support human rights and remain silent in the face of countless war crimes and crimes against humanity. You cannot claim to support U.S. law and remain silent when our country violates the Leahy Law. You cannot claim to support international law and remain silent when nearly every major body in the world has called what is happening a genocide and ethnic cleansing. You cannot claim to support environmental justice and remain silent as Israel uproots olive trees, bombs seed banks, and levels all of Gaza. You cannot claim to support education and remain silent as every university and school is leveled. You cannot claim to support women and remain silent as Palestinian women are blown to bits, shot, burned, crushed under rubble, and made to hold bags of what remains of their children. You cannot claim to support an America First agenda and remain silent while endlessly aiding a country that has become the #1 pariah in the world and has consistently pulled the U.S. into every regional war possible. You cannot claim to be fiscally responsible and remain silent as our congressional leaders vote again and again and again to send billions of our tax dollars to a country bombing and starving children. You cannot even claim to care about the safety of our Jewish community and remain silent as pro-Zionists here and in Israel twist Judaism to mean that any evil done to the Palestinians is somehow justifiable. In a sense, the only way that this board or any representative in Oregon or in this country can remain silent is if you simply don't care. It's not that you don't know what's going on. It's not that you don't understand the blatant hypocrisy of supporting this explicitly or through cowardly silence. It's not that your hands are actually tied. It's just that you can't be bothered. Sure, it's clearly a genocide. Yes, it's ethnic cleansing. Israeli officials have openly admitted these things. Yes, the carnage is ramped up under Trump. Yes, Biden helped make it happen. But it's just so far away, and I just don't care. We have things here at home that we have to worry about, and we don't have time to put out a resolution or a statement. Won't you please focus on what you can control? But here's the thing. I don't come here asking this board for the impossible. I'm not asking this board to push for aggressive BDS legislation. I'm not asking this board to put out a statement saying that any IOF soldiers or Israeli officials that come here will be arrested on sight. I'm not asking this board to publicly name and shame Wyden, Bonamici, Salinas, Bynum, Hoyle, Bentz, or Dexter, who, by the way, called it a genocide just the other day, for being complicit in all of this. I'm not asking that the county do a review and cancel any and all contracts with businesses included in the UN report from Francesca Albanese. No. Instead, all I am asking for, and all that I'll continue to ask for, is a non-binding, values-based public resolution, or hell, even just a statement that you all sign off on calling on support for a ceasefire, release of all hostages from both sides, and an arms embargo against Israel. That's it. Just a statement. No careers are ruined. You still show leadership here in Oregon. Zionists in the community are happy because it doesn't have any teeth. Pro-Palestinians are happy because you actually said something. And I'm happy because I don't have to testify to the board about this anymore. We can all get back to discussing more important things like getting rid of mail-in voting and enacting Jim Crow-style voting laws, or whitewashing Charlie Kirk's racist, transphobic, and genocide-supporting career. Lastly, I show up virtually and in person because I'm a white dude with an immense amount of privilege. But there are members of this community that don't feel safe. And it's not because there's crime in their areas or just because Trump's Gestapo is disappearing community members every week. They're scared because they see that quote unquote good people in positions of power won't lift a finger or speak out if Israel deemed it okay for them and their loved ones to die or be rounded up, silenced, and shipped away. They understand that if your silence can be bought or swayed on something as horrific as a live stream genocide, that at the end of the day, you couldn't care less about what happens to people that look and sound like them. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you next week.
All right, Madam Chair, that concludes today's testimony.
Thank you, Clerk Moss. We'll next move towards board announcements. And before I get to future meetings, I just want to make sure that members of our community know that there is a community meeting on the closure of River Road today on September 16th, and that topic will be coming back to the board on September 23rd, and I hope all interested community members will be attending that community meeting today. You can find further information on the Washington County calendar at washingtoncountyor.gov. Then additionally, on the proposal for a battery energy storage system on West Union Road, that development application will be moving forward before a hearings officer on October 30th. That is a change of date from October 16th. So October 30th is the date. And so if you have any comments on that, please be sure to testify there. Further information can be found on the Washington County website. As to future meetings, next Tuesday, September 23rd, the board will start with a work session at 2 p.m. in the afternoon and then have the monthly business meeting in the evening starting at 6:30. Then we're into the month of October already. Wow, this year's marching by. Thursday, October 2nd, we'll have a Washington County Board of Commissioners Roundtable meeting starting at 9 a.m. On Tuesday, October 7th, we'll start our work session at 9, pause that, then reconvene with the Housing Authority Board of Directors meeting at 10 a.m., and then our board business meeting will immediately follow that at approximately 10:40 in the morning. On Friday, October 10th, as the Clean Water Services Board of Directors, we'll be having a work session day that starts at 9 a.m. Tuesday, October 14th, will be a work session only day starting at 9 a.m. Tuesday, October 21st, we'll have a work session starting at 9. We'll pause that for a board meeting at 10, and then reconvene in work session as we will be doing today. Tuesday, October 28th, 2025 will be our our monthly afternoon work session meeting starting at 2 p.m. and our evening board meeting at 6:30 p.m. Those are all the board announcements that I have today. Do board members have anything else? Okay, so we will be reconvening in work session, starting with an executive session. So we will change rooms, and I'll take the motion for the executive session in that room. And we're going to start that at 11 a.m. We need a motion to adjourn today's regular business meeting.
Move to adjourn.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please vote by raising your hand or saying aye. Thank you, commissioners. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously 4-0. We're hereby adjourned. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.